Worldwide, we'd like to welcome you to Nepal and to the conference and to such an important event today. We'll be starting the basically the formal part of the event, and please feel free to ask questions to our guests. I'll make some introductions and call our esteemed guests to join us on the panel. Also, I'd like to start this with small information regarding the vegan buffet. You saw in the our lunch ready, our vegan buffet is all ready to be served. Please make sure you will join us for the lunch soon after this short press meet. So let's start. I would like to start this panel by introducing our very important and esteemed guests amongst us. Srimati Menaka Gandhi is the founder and chairperson of People for Animals, PFA, India's largest animal welfare organization with 250,000 members, which runs 34 charitable veterinary hospitals and veterinary ambulances throughout India. It also runs India's only wildlife hospital in Bangalore. She's also an 8th-term member of parliament and has done many notable works for animals. She created the Animal Welfare Ministry as Minister for Animal Welfare, and she initiated and piloted legislation in the Parliament of India on the Wildlife Protection Act as Minister for Environment and Forest, etc. She's also the author of over 20 books on plants, environment, vegetarianism, animals and etymology, including Animal Laws of India, which is taught in universities and is used as the only guide for courts on the subject of animal welfare. For work for animals, she has received numerous awards for platforms like Rukmini Dev Arundel Animal Welfare Award 2011, John Marshig Animal Welfare Prize 1997, Venu Men and Animal Allies Foundation Lifetime Achievement Award 99, and many more. Please join me to welcome Srimati Ms. Menaka Gandhi on the platform. And then let's move on to our next esteemed panelist. Dr. Sailesh Rao has over 3 decades of professional experience and is the founder and executive director of Climate Healers, a non-profit dedicated towards healing the Earth's climate. A systems specialist with a PhD in electrical engineering from Stanford University, Mr. Rao worked on the internet communications infrastructure for 20 years after graduation. During this period, he led the transformation of early analog internet connections to more robust digital connections and also ran 10 times faster. In 2006, he switched careers and became deeply immersed full-time in solving the environmental crisis affecting humanity. Dr. Rao is the author of 2 books, Carbon Dharma, The Occupation of Butterflies in Carbon Yoga, The Vegan Metamorphosis, and has been involved with numerous documentaries tackling climate change. Dr. Rao is a human, earth, animal liberation, HEAL activist, husband, dad, and since 2010, a star-struck grandfather. He is currently working tirelessly on behalf of his generation to fulfill a pinky promise to his granddaughter Kimaya and her generation that the world will be largely vegan and well on the way towards a sustainable, thriving future before she turns 16 in 2026. Dr. Sailesh Rao, please. Dr. Nandita Shah the recipient of the prestigious Nari Shakti Puraskar in 2016, is the founder, director and trustee of Sharan. She founded Sharan in 2005 with the aim of helping people to heal themselves and the planet by connecting to animals and nature. Sharan is now a vibrant and growing social enterprise whose vision is to build a culture of health and has already positively impacted more than 100,000 lives in India and overseas. Dr. Nandita Shah. Ma'am Gauri Molikhi ma'am is busy right now with the meeting, so we'll be joined by her very soon. Then I'd like to please welcome the man of the hour, Dr. Harsha Atmakuri, who left his job as drug safety physician and medical writer back in May 2018 to become a full-time independent animal rights activist to fight oppression done to the most innocent victims in the world, animals. He raises awareness about the violence that humans inflict on other sentient beings as part of our social condition through our lifestyle, primarily through our dietary habits. He does various forms of awareness campaigns on veganism and animal rights, in addition to producing, directing and editing short documentaries regarding veganism and animal rights. He also promotes animal rights and veganism through public outreaches, lectures in colleges and institutions, designing digital outreach posters, providing research and analysis, writing articles and conducting interviews like this one. We welcome, sir. We'd like to start the panel now. Yeah, let us conclude.
30,000 more people, or 20 times more people, earn their daily wages through picking pockets. So why have we made that illegal? If the question is just of employment, at the risk of losing the entire planet, what would you choose? One person's private employment, which causes suffering, or the entire survival of the planet? Which one would you choose? Why evolution means the recognition, true evolution means the recognition of what is good for you and what is bad. If we have evolved to a point where we think and we believe with enough material now that the eating of meat, the drinking of milk, the eating of eggs is destroying the planet, that methane is the primary destruction agent of the planet rather than CO2, and that CO2 has been forced on us, or we have forced it on the world in order to avoid responsibility. After all, the main creators of methane are India, China, Brazil, and our ancillaries. So if we have deliberately made this into a political issue and forced CO2 to become the villain rather than methane, then we have forced that planet into, our planet, into much more danger. So we must recognize what we are doing wrong. If a man keeping a dairy, we say, oh, he's a poor man. I'm going to give you another example. There is a disease in horses called glanders. This is an extremely communicable disease, and it's 100% mortality for human beings. It is the only bacterial or viral disease that was used in the First World War in push pumps to spray on the enemy, because they would die of that if not of a bullet. Now, in the world, they decided to get rid of glanders, so they shot the horses. It was a one-time solution, it finished. India did not. And why did India not do it? Because poor people keep horses. So we have a huge amount of glanders. Now, especially in pilgrimage areas like Vaishno Devi. Now, a couple goes, they are already not well. They are fat, obese, old, unable to walk the journey. So they sit on 17,000 horses, which are provided for this purpose, which the government themselves have admitted that many of them have glanders, which is extremely communicable. 2 minutes lagta hai. Now that family then goes back to their village, and within 6 weeks they die of a disease that has not even been diagnosed, which is not possible to diagnose before they die. And then they say, oh, thank God we got to see the Devi before we died. Not realizing that they got the disease because they went to see the Devi. Now, should we keep those horses? Should we say that these are poor people? Because that is what the government of Kashmir wrote to me in a letter, saying that yes, we have tested the horses, they have glanders, but we cannot shoot them, we cannot get rid of them because they belong to poor people. So what is the choice you want to make? You want to have a dairy and you want to die? Or every time you drink milk, you make a choice between milk and water, milk and land, milk and diabetes, milk and every other disease that I can think of, including breast cancer. Okay, so what are the choices you want? Shall we feel sorry for this man because he has a dairy? Or should you feel sorry for yourself and the planet?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Before we move further, I'd also like to welcome Gaurav Malika ma'am. He is a leading animal welfare advocate in India with over 2 decades of work experience in this field. She has built an illustrious career as a subject matter expert in animal protection laws. Please come, ma'am. Let's continue. Other questions? Other questions, please.
Yes. My name is Enrique. I'm an animal rights advocate, and we've been it's okay.
It's okay.
We've been on this fight for like years, and sometimes it feels like we're just doing mosquito bites, you know. Yeah, I was just.
Gary, just ask without the mic. Go on.
Yeah, I can ask without the mic. It's fine. It's fine. And so, you know, we see the power that these industries have to manipulate governments, education, and so sometimes it feels, and also we have a clock, right, due to the climate environment, the climate crisis. So how do you propose, or how do you think we can actually advance this cause further? Because we were just discussing how is it possible that with all this information, veganism is not much bigger and the animal rights movement is not much bigger?
Anybody like to answer that, or can I answer it again? At the risk of hogging the mic. The first thing you need to do is to bring it on the political table. I'm going to ask you all a question which I often ask people in India. How many of you know who your MP is? Member of Parliament. Please put up your hands. So, less than 1% of the people here, right, who are otherwise so aware of what is happening in the planet, you are not aware of the person who makes the laws, right? How many of you know who your corporator is? None. One person. How many of you know who your MLA is? The person in the state? 4 people. If you do not bring this onto the political table, how will you get political decisions? Let's give you one decision, for instance. If you, in India, if I grow buffaloes for meat, I make them kill my forest, use my water, filthify the place, give me disease, and then I send it to an illegal slaughterhouse, of which I think Kerala alone has 27,000 illegal slaughterhouses. Even then, I get zero, I pay no taxes, the meat is cheap because I pay nothing to the government, nothing. The animals eat free, roam free, destroy public property free, for nothing, but I pay nothing to the government. If I grow peas and tomatoes, I pay 18% to the government. So the point is that is a political decision. If I were to consult my MP and say, no, you will raise your voice, otherwise you will not get my vote. How many people are sitting here? I am delighted to see so many people. Last year, at this time in Nepal, there was probably 1 vegan. Today, there's a whole room full. Next time, there will be a whole stadium full. And then you will be in the government. But before you get there, you need to bring this onto the political table. Your elections are coming up. How many of you have insisted that this be put into the parties? In a small place like Dharamsala, you may have heard of it because it is the Dalai Lama lives there. In a small place like Dharamsala, one person called Dheeraj from a lower middle class family without any money suddenly got up. There were corporation elections. in Dharamsala, and he said, everybody who is standing, just one person, anybody who is standing, if he does not tell me his position on dog sterilization, whether you want to kill dogs, whether you want to preserve them, whether you want to keep them, whether you want to be happy with them, whatever, anybody standing without a position on this subject, we will see that he does not get a vote. He made such a racket, and the police and the press helped him so much that the next day thousands of people asked this question. So that one man, whatever the position that the cooperator took, so all the cooperators had to back off from saying, no, we will get rid of the dogs, we will kill the dogs. So they had to take moderate positions. One person can change the world, just one. When I started, there were no shelters in India. There was one, there was Blue Cross, run by a very fine couple. And that was it. And now, there are so many little, hundreds of shelters started by young people who have no money. During COVID, people had lost their jobs. People didn't know what they were going to eat the next day. And they were still going out and feeding animals on the street, who lost their entire means of eating because the small restaurants closed, because the dhaba-walas closed, because people closed. And it was so unbelievable to see this change. And you can be part of it, but start politically. You want to change? Find out who your MP is. Before this election, put it on the table. Say, we want this. Even if 10 MPs, you can change. Nepal has got no animal welfare laws. How is that possible in this day and age? Because you have not asked for them. Today the tourism minister is coming. He's a very good man and he's done a lot for you. Why don't you ask him? He will go back and tell the cabinet, hey, this is an issue, let's do it. At least you'll get your animal protection laws. For 20 years people have been trying, no laws, because nobody's interested. And it's not that you're not interested, you are interested, you just haven't brought it on the table. This is not a private opinion. You need to make your private opinion public.
Thank you, ma'am. I think what I'm going to do is, because we don't have much time, so I'll go with each and every panelist and a certain question that I have. Yeah, if anyone has any questions at all, please raise your hands to do so.
Curds in the map for B12. And what I want to say is that vegans, vegetarians and non-vegetarians get B12 and vitamin D deficiency to the same level. So I'm a doctor and I actually test all my patients before I start consultation, and I find, and most of my patients are not vegans, obviously, and all of them without fail have vitamin B12 and D deficiency, or they may be taking supplements. Right. So the reason they have B12 deficiency is because B12 is only made by bacteria. You can't get vitamin B12 today in this kind of world, in our artificial world, and therefore everyone needs to take supplements. So you test and take supplements.
Origin of supplement is?
So because B12 is made by bacteria, origin of supplement is usually vegan. Okay, it's plant-based. You don't get vitamin B12 from meat and milk either. It's only made by bacteria.
Bacteria is also an organ?
Yes, so yogurt is full of bacteria. Meat and milk are full of bacteria because they're decaying substances. The minute you cook food, it starts getting bacteria.
How can I take bacteria? Because it's also a living organism.
You can meet me later, we can discuss it. So thanks, move to the next question.
I also think that vitamin B12 and vitamin D deficiencies are a recent invention of the medicine, the pharmaceutical industries, because till 10 years ago or 15 years ago, nobody heard of these deficiencies and we all lived happily ever after. And now, like him, every time I get myself tested, my vitamin D is below 15 and my vitamin B12 is below 2 or whatever nonsense. And I just go on, and I'm 66 years old. And I knew whatever I did when I was 16.
Wow. Thank you. Station and whatnot. But in many conferences I've been, I've never heard people talking about animal farming as a leading cause for global climate change. So would you like to please highlight on that issue so that everyone also knows a bit about that connection?
So that's as Mrs. Gandhi just said, it's a political decision to keep it off the agenda, because it's how you account for things. So when you account for land use and you account for the opportunity cost of that land use, animal agriculture becomes the absolute leading cause of climate change. And they don't want to talk about it. This is why they take land use off the menu. They put it aside. They don't even consider opportunity cost, which, as an engineer, I'm telling you that would be engineering malpractice if you don't take that into account. And you are working on solutions. So this is why, when you look at it from a holistic perspective, animal agriculture is the leading cause of climate change, and I've written a paper showing that it is responsible for at least 87% of greenhouse gas emissions on an annual basis. Okay? So, which means that if we all went vegan today, the entire world, we can actually start sequestering 87% of the CO2 emissions that we're doing today.
Thank you.
I think one of the things that's important is to know that methane disappears in 4 years. Carbon dioxide, if we even stop breathing today, if we stop doing anything, we just all lie down and die, which is the only way that you can get rid of carbon dioxide, even then it will take 100 years to go even down by 1%. But since methane is 24%, in the film it's 110%, he probably more knowledgeable than me, but I work on 24 times more potent than carbon dioxide. That means that if today we stop eating animals, you will lose methane in just 4 years and get your entire climate stabilized. Just 4 years.
Thank you, ma'am. Something to really think about. My next question is to Gauri, ma'am. Because you work with lots of agencies like State Police and National Judicial Academy, have you seen that the evolution of change, let's say, among people, and how basically, I really wanted to know is how beneficial are actually laws and policies when it comes to implementation on ground?
So laws and policies made by the government are not always the best thing that they can do for the country and its people and the environment. They're driven by a lot of factors. And those factors are who's making the money. That's the question. So we have to also consider, before we look at the enforcement of laws, we have to see where the laws are coming from. We have to first stop looking at animal agriculture as agriculture at all. Dairy is not farming, poultry is not farming. This is now turned into an industry which is driving the government into making laws that are favorable for them. So penalties are low, there's such insane conditions on prosecution that nothing comes to fruition. If you even try to report cruelty in a certain dairy setup or a poultry setup, you would be faced with 10,000 challenges. Police or the judges are usually given training before their induction into all kinds of other crimes, but animal crime or environmental related violations, they're not even taught. Hence we have to do special workshops for them and force them to. So what we did with Ms. Gandhi's help, and she was the driving force when we went to the Law Minister of India and got him to include chapters on animal welfare into the law colleges, in modules which are built into the law courses. Additional degrees given on law, on animal welfare law. Besides that, trainings of judges and in police academies, judicial academies. It has had impact, I wouldn't say it hasn't. But again, long way to go, a lot of more people. It has to be a domino effect, that's my opinion. But a lot more needs to be done, and laws need to be made tighter, which in due course is likely to happen. But unless we do this, we take that step to empower the police forces and the judicial officers, there's no way to go.
Thank you, ma'am. So I'm just sorry. Question. You can just
but that was not in the forefront. But the message is the first thing that I want to get out. These things are like, let me see when they come out, is what I thought like when I was making the film. And yes, we made sure as much as possible to be as politically and religiously neutral and unbiased as possible while conveying the message at the same time. So we have to wait and see.
You know, sometimes we scare each other. So we scare each other. I say, oh my God, if you raise your voice, somebody's going to kill you. Or some, I actually, people get killed, but like 1 in 50 million. And more people get killed by accidents, but we don't stop driving cars, right? So this whole business of why are you not scared? Why are you not scared? I remember when I was much, much younger and I was not a member of parliament or anything, we stopped my organization, People for Animals, of which Gauri is an important, very important part. We stopped bullfighting in Goa, called Dhirio. And when we stopped it, the chief minister, he became the chief minister. He was the biggest owner of bulls that were used for bullfighting. And he was also the biggest gold smuggler. He was also called that. And he announced that if I'm going to put a hit squad and kill Menaka Gandhi. So I caught the plane within 24 hours of learning this and went and sat in Goa and gave a press conference saying, here I am, and I'm going to stay here until I get killed.
Wow.
And I just sat there. I had no security. I had nobody. I just sat there, and then after a few days, I came back, and that's it. I'm still alive. So don't let's scare each other. This will happen to you. That will happen to you. Whatever is going to happen to you is karma. Whatever will happen to you, but at least die fighting.
And what a great message to end this session with. Indeed, we are in this together and we got each other's back. So we'll be here for a long, long haul. And thank you very much for coming here. I'd like to inform that even in Nepal, the World Bank and ADB is giving more than $20 million in Nepal farmers to engage into livestock farming.
Also, protest.
Yeah, so we really need to please this is a very big issue, especially for a country like Nepal, which is on the top 5 climate change affect to Nepal. So let's really do our bit as well, and we expect that from all of you. Thank you so much for being here, and please let's move to our lunch and talk more that in person. Thank you. Thank you so much for being such a great audience. Thank you.
मैले यो माका दूध भन्ने डकुमेन्ट्री हेरेँ र बडा सुन्दर यसलाई मेहनत गरेर बनाइएको छ र यसको सबै पक्ष विशेष गरी वातावरणसँग सम्बन्धित अनि यो कम्प्यासनसँग क्रुल्टीसँग सम्बन्धित कुराहरू बहुतै महत्त्वपूर्ण छ र अल्टिमेटली जीवन बचाउनको लागि धरती बचाउनको लागि अब एनिमल प्रोडक्टहरू भन्दा पनि प्लान्ट बेस्ड प्रोडक्टमा गएर एकातिर काइन्डनेस कम्प्यासन दया करुणा जस्ता कुरा विकास गर्नु छ भने अर्कोतिर धरतीको समग्र विकासको लागि यो विकल्प नै सबभन्दा उत्तम हो भन्ने देखिन्छ र अध्यात्मले जो सिकाउन खोज्छ कम्प्यासनको कुरो अवेरनेसको कुरो यहाँबाट नै हामीले यो भिगनको अथवा यो प्लान्ट बेस्ड जुन एउटा सभ्यता छ यसको विकास गर्नुपर्ने छ र सबै यो आध्यात्मिक संस्थामा लाग्नुभएका र विशेष गरी साधनालाई जीवनको एउटा जीवनशैली बनाउनु भएका सबै मित्रहरूले यसलाई अगाडि लानको लागि म अनुरोध गर्छु।
चाहिँ आचार्य भएको कारणले वसुधारा संस्थामा यो कुराको इम्प्याक्ट चाहिँ कस्तो पर्ला हजुरले चाहिँ अब यस्ता आध्यात्मिक संस्थाहरूले यो कुरालाई कसरी लैजाने होला भन्ने चाहिँ
हामीले त अझ यसलाई यो साधना सुरु गर्दा नै पञ्चव्रतमा एउटा अहिंसाको मांसाहार नगर्ने विषयमा कुरा हुन्छ। यहाँ दुग्धाहारको कुराहरू चाहिँ निषेधित थिएन, तर आजको यो डकुमेन्ट्री यो मुभी हेरिसकेपछि मलाई के लाग्यो भने दुग्धाहार कतै न कतै गएर यसले मांसाहारलाई प्रोत्साहन गरेको छ, धरतीलाई नष्ट गर्नलाई यसले काम गरिरहेको छ। त्यसले गर्दा दुग्धाहार भन्दा यदि दुग्धाहार जनावरको होइन कि कोकोनटबाट हुन सक्ने रहेछ, भटमासबाट हुन सक्ने रहेछ, रहेछ। हाम्रो जस्तो भूगोल भएको ठाउँमा हामीले कोकोनट त नपाउला, तर भटमास जन्य पदार्थहरूबाट यसको विकास हुनसक्छ भन्ने लाग्छ। त्यस कारणले गर्दा यो मांसाहार र दुग्धाहारभन्दा पर प्लान्ट बेस्ड दुध र त्यसका परिकारहरूबाट अगाडि बढ्नुपर्छ, जसले साधनालाई पनि सहयोग गर्छ, जीवनलाई पनि सुन्दर बनाउँछ, धरतीलाई पनि सुनिश्चित गर्छ र यो जीवन जगत धेरै सुन्दर ढङ्गले अगाडि बढ्न सक्छ भन्ने लाग्छ हामीलाई। थ्याङ्क यू।
हेलो नमस्ते, म सोनु सिजापति, म भेगन एक्टिभिस्ट पनि हो, एनिमल लभर पनि। हामीले चाहिँ आज यो भेज फेस्ट सम्बन्धी प्रोग्राम भइरहेको थियो अनि यसमा चाहिँ माका दुधमा चाहिँ एउटा डकुमेन्ट्री तयार पारिएको थियो। यो डकुमेन्ट्री चाहिँ हेर्नलाई अहिले हामी यहाँ सबैजना उपस्थित भइरहेछौँ। लगभग यहाँ चाहिँ 200 भन्दा बढी अभियन्ताहरू र शाकाहारीहरू अब भेगनहरू हुनुहुन्छ। अनि यो डकुमेन्ट्री हेरिसकेपछि कस्तो फिल भएको छ भनेर सोध्नु भएको छ। यो जस म चाहिँ पहिल्यैदेखि अब भेगन पनि हो, पहिल्यैदेखि यो दुधहरू प्रडक्टहरू केही पनि खाँदिनँ थिएँ, तर पनि अब अहिले यो जुन प्रोग्राम भयो यसबाट चाहिँ धेरै नै हुन्छ नि, अब अलिअलि खाने मान्छेहरूलाई पनि यसले चाहिँ नखान नै एकदमै उ गर्छ, किनभने दुध भनेको चाहिँ कसैको मर्डरबाटै आएको हो भन्ने नै बुझिन्छ। त्यो नै बुझिन्थ्यौँ हामी पहिल्यैदेखि। आजको डकुमेन्ट्रीले चाहिँ अझै बढी क्लियर गरिदिएको छ कि यो दुध भनेको चाहिँ मर्डर नै हो एक किसिमको, जसको चाहिँ अब डेथ हुन्छ अनि मात्रै एनिमल प्रडक्टहरू निक्लिन्छ। त्यही भएर अनि जुन दुध चाहिँ आमाको लागि नै, आमाले जुन बच्चाको लागि भनेर उत्पादन गरेको हुन्छ त्यो दुध चाहिँ उसकै बच्चाकै लागि हो, अरूको लागि होइन। त्यही भएर चाहिँ सबैलाई अब यो डकुमेन्ट्रीले चाहिँ भेगन बन्नलाई अझै धेरै प्रोत्साहन गर्छ जस्तो मलाई लाग्छ। धन्यवाद।
भर्खरै यो यहाँ देख्न सक्नुहुन्छ एउटा डकुमेन्ट्री, भर्खरै वृत्तचित्र हेरेर हामी छौँ। एउटा निकै नै राम्रो माका दुध भन्ने वृत्तचित्र 2 घण्टा 6 मिनट चाहिँ असाध्यै द्रवित मानसिकताका साथ हामीले हेऱ्यौँ। हामी असाध्यै भावनाले हामी द्रवित थियौँ, करुणाले भरिएका थियौँ। त्यहाँ बस्ने सबै मित्रहरू जो हुनुहुन्थ्यो, म पनि त्यसैमा थिएँ। प्राणीलाई चाहिँ हामीले आहार बनाइराखेको कुरालाई एउटा केही पनि होइन जसरी हामी जीवनमा अगाडि बढ्छौँ त्यसलाई चाहिँ प्रश्न गर्न सिकाउँछ यो वृत्तचित्र हेरेपछि। म आफै पनि धेरै पटक यो नौलो होइन, यो यसले पस्केको कुरा मेरो लागि। योभन्दा अगाडि पनि यसले दिएको सन्देशमा त म अलिकति चिन्तन गर्थेँ, तर यसले जुन घनत्वका साथ, जुन इन्टेन्सिटीका साथ यसले सन्देश प्रवाह गरेको छ त्यसले बदल्न सक्छ मान्छेको मानसिकतालाई। किनभने कहिले कहिले तपाईलाई त्यो घट्टलाई घुमाउने गरी पानी आएन भने घुम्दैन नि, अलिअलि पानी आयो भने। त्यस्तै तपाईँको विचारको प्रवाह राम्रोसँग भएन भने त्यसले राम्रो कुराले पनि कसैको मनलाई चाहिँ नबदल्न सक्छ। तर यो वृत्तचित्रले तपाईँलाई एकचोटि हेर्नुभयो भने सोच्न बाध्य बनाउँछ। हामीले आफूलाई प्रश्न नगरिकन जे टेबलमा आउँछ त्यही खाइराखेका छौँ, जे स्वादले माग्छ, हामी स्वादको दास, स्वादको आदि भएका छौँ। त्यसले हामी अरूप्रति दया, सहानुभूति, करुणा नराखिकन, जीवनको महत्त्व नै नबुझिकन एउटा असाध्यै मेकानिकल तरिकाले, यान्त्रिक तरिकाले खानेकुराको कन्जम गरिराखेका छौँ। त्यसलाई चाहिँ प्रश्न गर्न बाध्य बनाउँछ। र अर्को एउटा ठुलो होराइजनमा, ठुलो क्षितिजमा पुगेर तपाईँ उभिनुहुन्छ। हामीले खाइराखेको कारणले जुन एउटा गहिरो आदत र लत बसेको छ 8 अर्ब मान्छेलाई, त्यसले चाहिँ पृथ्वीको विनाश गर्दैछ छिट्टै नै। त्यसलाई बचाउने हो भने पनि हामीले प्राणीहरूप्रति करुणा गर्नुपर्छ र प्लान्ट बेस्ड डायट भन्छौँ, जसलाई हामी निरामिष भोजन भन्छ हाम्रो अध्यात्मले। कुनै पनि आमिष अथवा जनावरबाट आएको चिज केही पनि नराखेको जुन खाद्य वस्तु छ त्यसलाई उपभोग गर्दा पृथ्वीको पनि आयु बढ्छ, अरू प्राणीहरूप्रतिको करुणाको विस्तार पनि हुन्छ र हाम्रो आफ्नै पनि शारीरिक स्वास्थ्य, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य र आर्थिक स्वास्थ्य सबै राम्रो हुन्छ भन्ने कुरालाई यो 2 घण्टामा वृत्तचित्रले राम्रोसँग भनेको छ। धन्यवाद।
A vegan campaign in Nepal we've been doing for about a year, and we've been asking everyone to, well, we've been doing it for a few years, but this year we just started again to go to schools, because we find that children can change much easier. They're like clay, you can shape them, you know? And so if you hear Albert Einstein, I'll say in Nepali, Albert Einstein banda chan, shakahara khana noi swastikar jiban, pita noi ekmatra upaya ho. So it's nothing will benefit our health, increase the chances for survival on Earth as much as the evolution to the vegetarian diet, okay? So this is what Albert Einstein, Mahatma Gandhi, so many other saints, Jains, Buddhists and Hindus all agree that we should value all life equally. It's ahimsa dharma, parama dharma, you know? And this is what Bhagavan Ra Parvati le Sayukta Rashtra le Hamilai Shakahari Dekna Chahanunsa. Take cha? Okay, so we know that Kukurasati, Boishi Sati, Kashi, Kaka, Biralo Bohini, you know? So Birali Bohini, I mean. So, so if we value everyone as our brother and sister, then we will not hurt anyone, we will not kill anyone, we will protect them. This is what.
Can you introduce yourself?
I'm sorry, my name is Julian Bliss from America. World Guardians is our website, and you can look at worldguardians.org for how we're helping the planet. And we have another website called theearthguardians.org, THE, the, don't forget out the word, the, no space, the Earth Guardians, GUARDIANS.org. That's for the program for Nepal and India, how we can organize street cows and take them to the forest and to farmers who need free fertilizer in groups, so they'll take them off the street. And so we're working with lots of goshalas and other animal rights activists, but the thing is, the cows, they don't need so much protection. They need to be in the forests to eat the fire hazardous growths. And the fires are heating our earth almost 1 million times faster per second than carbon dioxide. So we have to stop the fire, dark smoke fires, as much as possible. So forest fires are the #1 cause of fast climate change. So we have to stop that. We have to slow the climate from heating to keep the ice. And if we keep the ice, we'll keep alive. The ice is regulating the seasons, and it's keeping the oceans cool. So this is collaborated on our website, worldguardians.org, and that will show Stanford University and a lot of other scientists and TED Talks how the plants can, the animals can help the planet if we give them a job and not kill them. They need to live, defecate, and die in the wild, and that will help our planet. Only that way. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your words. Okay, would you like to speak, sir?
नमस्कार, म कलाकार सरिता राजोपाध्याय। आजको यो माका दूध एउटा भन्ने प्रोग्राम हेरेर चाहिँ मलाई के चाहिँ अनुभव भयो भने हामी प्राणी हैन अनि साथसाथै यो विश्व जगत चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ कसरी बचाउन सक्छौं प्लस प्राणीलाई कसरी माया गर्न सक्छौं पशु प्राणीलाई र हामी बाँच्दाखेरि कसैलाई पनि दुःख नदिकन उनीहरुलाई नमारिकन उनीहरुलाई माया गरेर प्रेमपूर्वक हामी बाँच्न सक्छौं एज अ मानव है मानव भएर हामी देख्नलाई मात्र मानव भएका छौं तर मान्छे जस्तो डरलाग्दो मान्छे जस्तो क्रूर म त भेगन भएको लगभग 2-3 वर्ष भइसक्यो मेरो छोरा आईटी पढ्दैछ आशुतोष राजोपाध्याय उनी पनि भेजिटेरियन म पनि जन्मजातै भेजिटेरियन
भेगन भएर काठमाडौँ जस्तो सहरमा नेपालमा बस्न कतिको गाह्रो छ भेगन सामान प्राप्त गर्न रेस्टुरेन्टमा जानु पार्टीहरु जाँदाखेरि कस्तो हुन्छ त्यो बताइदिनुस् त
मलाई चाहिँ त्यस्तो गाह्रो चाहिँ लागेन मलाई त्यति गाह्रै लागेन म पहिला गाईको दुध म अरु खान्न थिए गाईको अथवा भैँसीको प्योर दुध खान्थे किनभने मेरो घरमा पनि म सानो हुँदाखेरि गाई पाल्नु भएको थियो अनि म त्यो दुध खान्थे त्यो दुध पनि मलाई आर्टिफिशियल मन पर्ने थिएन नेचुरल चिनी नहालेको चाहिँ मन पर्थ्यो जब मेरो छोराले मलाई के भन्यो भने मामु म चाहिँ यो ब्रह्माण्डको लागि अथवा यो पृथ्वीको लागि म भेगान बन्छु तपाई पनि स्वास्थ्यको लागि भेगान बन्नुस् भनेर भन्यो र केही कुरा मैले थाहा पनि पाएँ र हाम्रो कृष्ण सरहरु पनि भेगान हुनुहुन्थ्यो कसरी भेगान बन्ने होला भन्ने जस्तो लाग्थ्यो तर जब मैले थाहा पाएँ नि मलाई एकदम सहज भयो। म दुध खाँदाखेरि मलाई बिरालोको संज्ञा दिइन्थ्यो किनभने म टन्न सबै खाना खान्थेँ र थोरै भए पनि म दुधसँग भात खान अति मन पराउने मान्छे भयो भने, नत्र भए केही छैन, त्यस्तो केही छैन। दुध भयो भने मलाई जहाँ पनि यसले दुध खान्छ मन पराउँछ भनेर राखिदिनुहुन्थ्यो। तर आजको डेटमा मलाई पाहुनाको लागि बोलाउँदा पनि यसले के खान्छ, यसले केही खाँदिन भनेर बोलाउनु पनि गाह्रो चाहिँ मान्नुहुन्छ होइन। तर म के भन्छु, मलाई गुन्द्रुक, साग, दाल जे छ, मलाई माछा, मासु, अन्डा र त्यो पशुबाट आएको दुध, दही बाहेक जे छ म त्यही खान्छु। मलाई बोलाउनलाई अथवा म त झन् स्वस्थ फुर्तिलो फिल गरिरहेको छु। मलाई त्यसमा कुनै पनि असर लागेको छैन, मलाई कुनै असर भएकै छैन। इनफ्याक्ट म त झन् खुसी छु, झन् स्वस्थ भएँ जस्तो लाग्छ। र मलाई लाग्छ कि सबैजना भेगान हुन् किनभने स्वास्थ्यको लागि। यो एनिमल प्रडक्ट जब दुध, दही, पनिर अनि त्यसपछि घिउ प्रयोग गर्नुहुन्छ नि, अनि धेरै रोग लाग्छ, धेरै रोगी भएका छन् भनेर सुन्न र देखिन आयो होइन। अनि मैले पनि आजभोलि के गर्छु, मेरा जति पनि आफन्त हुनुहुन्छ, जति पनि मान्छेलाई म भेट्छु, रोगी, प्रेसर हाई, सुगर, विभिन्न रोगहरू जो म सुन्छु नि, सुन्छु, उहाँ सबैलाई भन्छु तपाईँहरू भेगान हुनुहोस् न, केही महिना भेगान हेर्नुहोस् र त्यसपछि आफ्नो स्वास्थ्य कस्तो हुन्छ आफै विचार गर्नुहोस् भनेर नि भनेको छु। र भेगान हुनुहोस्, विश्वलाई, आफूलाई बचाउनुहोस्, शान्तमय जिन्दगी बाँच्नुहोस्, मानव जिन्दगी बाँच्नुहोस् है, दानव होइन।
थ्याङ्क यू भेरी मच। थ्याङ्क यू।